morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Sam Teitel, and I serve as the minister for the Church of the River in beautiful downtown Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently this morning in an effort to keep as many people as we can safe from the spread of the coronavirus. We are not going to be having worship in our sanctuary. We're going to be doing a virtual worship format where different members of the Memphis Unitarian Universalist community are going to be leading different elements of the service from the safety of our own homes, and that's all going to get edited together and then posted online so that all of the members of the UU community in Memphis will be able to experience that worship service. So to start us out, I would love to turn things over to my beloved friend and colleague, the Reverend Beth Lefever from the Neshoba Unitarian Universalist Church.
Though it seems darkness abounds in the trials and troubles of the world, light always finds a way in, and often makes the dark beautiful, as the stars so make the night sky. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we acknowledge the power of light by igniting the flame of our chalice in the light of truth, honor, and integrity, the warmth of love, laughter, and affection, and the fire of passion, courage, and commitment. And now I would like to introduce Cindy Sakaan, Director of Religious Education for Church of the River, who will present our story of the morning. Cindy?
Good morning. I'm sorry I can't be with you today. But with so much news this week about the coronavirus, I'm wondering if you're feeling a little bit anxious. I know I am. Lots of plans had to be changed. Plans that we had made at the Church of the River had to be canceled. And now I want to make you feel better, I hope, by telling you some things that I learned from friends that are scientists and doctors that make me feel better. First, the coronavirus as an organism is actually kind of interesting. Did you know that the first time scientists discovered the coronavirus, it was in bats? And did you know it's called the coronavirus because under a microscope, some people think it looks like a fuzzy little ball wearing a crown. The Latin word for crown is corona. It works a lot like something you might have heard about, the flu. When this little fuzzy virus hops onto your body gets rid of it by making you sick. First you cough and sneeze, maybe you have a fever, and then you get better. The good news is, from the doctors I've talked to, is that children don't get very sick at all. It's more like a bad cold. In a few days, you'll feel better. In older people, it's a little scarier. Another thing that makes me feel better is that medical experts all over the world are busy studying how to protect you, me, kids, grandparents, neighbors, and friends. There are lots and lots of helpers out there. Some of them are in labs, some are in schools, and even inside the Church of the River. We're working really hard to protect you and everybody else from getting sick. Another thing you need to remember is you're powerful. We tell you that every Sunday. There are lots of things you can do to protect yourself. And if we were at the Church of the River, this is the time where I would ask you for your ideas about how to protect yourself. Here's some things I think you probably would say. Number 1, wash your hands for 20 seconds. Number 2, sneeze or cough into your elbow. Number 3, if you sneeze on your desk, you need to wash your hands and your desk. And number 4, which is why we're not at church today, is you need to stay home if you're not feeling well. You can't come to school or to church or to a friend's house or to visit your grandparents because we have to make sure other people don't get sick. Even when we're feeling great, those fuzzy virus balls can hop onto somebody else and make them sick, even if we don't think we're sick. And one more thing, remember to be kind. You may have heard that the first people to get sick were from China. That doesn't mean that we can be afraid of people from China or be mean to people that we think might have come from somewhere else. Because we're kind people, we're going to be compassionate to everyone, especially when they're afraid. And the last big thing, you don't have to do all the worrying. When everyone else around you seems worried, don't freak out when everybody else is freaking out. Sometimes it feels like the only thing people are talking about is big scary stuff. But everyone you usually see at the Church of the River is here to worry with you. You don't have to do it all by yourself. We're going to figure out how to take care of each other and even how to have these kind of stories together while we're apart. And together, we'll remember we are all beloved, we are all important, we are all powerful. Be kind, wash your hands. I'll see you soon. And now Reverend Burton Carley, Minister Emeritus of the Church of the River, will lead us in prayer.
Let us prepare. Breathe deeply and slowly. Release the sighs you keep. Open the door to the center of yourself, to that place of quiet strength where faith dwells. Now welcome the Spirit, both divine and human, which gives purpose to life beyond its confusion and disorder. And let us pray. Eternal Spirit, we come to worship this morning untethered from our sanctuaries, sheltered in our various homes and places. Though scattered about our city and towns, knowing not what a day may bring, the bonds of our community remain a source of strength and peace. In this moment, we bear testimony that our church is not just someplace where we go, but something we are. Lift us above our anxieties, confident in our capacity to meet the needs required of us, to seek the good of each day, and to receive the gifts bestowed upon us, regardless of circumstances. Keep us strong in the faith that love casts out fear and guides us to desire rightly and be of use. So may we each be a compassionate and caring companion and keep in our hearts a place for those who are suffering from illness or grief. For this great gift of human loving that gives calm in the storm and courage before the unknown, we offer our thanksgiving. Be with us as we move forward together until the day spring breaks and the shadows flee away. So may it be. Amen. And now Sarah Osborne, the Director of Religious Education from the Neshoba Unitarian Universalist Church, will introduce our offering.
What if we took a moment to stop, to simply breathe? What if we look upon these difficult times in our lives as an opportunity to connect with each other in new ways? What if we remember that we are part of something greater and bigger than ourselves, and that we can be co-creators in healing our world? In the spirit of generosity, we ask you to be gentle with yourselves, and if you are so moved, to give generously to the mission of our Unitarian Universalist faith, which sustains us. For Neshoba Church, You may contribute through the GiveLify app or through the donate button on the website neshobachurch.org. And for Church of the River, you may give via text to 901-350-2686 or give online at churchoftheriver.org/donate.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here, and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
And now, delivering the homily is Reverend Sam Teitel, Minister for Church of the River. Sam?
Our reading this morning comes to us from the book of Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What gain have the workers from their toil? I have seen the business that God has given to everyone to be busy with. God has made everything suitable for its time. Moreover, God has put a sense of past and future into their hands, yet they cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to be happy and enjoy themselves as long as they live. Moreover, it is God's gift that all should eat and drink and take pleasure in their toil. My friends, we are in the midst of a very stressful time. All over the world, people are dealing with the outbreak of COVID-19 and all of the complications that come along with it. And that means that in addition to all of the anxiety that we might be feeling just related to our own health, there's also just kind of a general atmosphere of anxiety and unpredictability. And this gets worse as many of the routines that we have come to know and depend on, those routines are being altered or undone, right? Schools are getting closed. Big gatherings like sporting events are being canceled, and churches have been asked to avoid holding big worship services, which is why we're doing this. It's a lot to navigate, especially as we try to figure out how to respond as people of faith and how to make sense of the overabundance of panic and bad information that we are dealing with right now. So first of all, as always, I feel like it's worth saying in honor of our Unitarian Universalist affirmation of the free and responsible search for truth and meaning, that if you feel like you need more information about this pandemic, check out the Center for Disease Control or the Shelby County Health Department, and that's a better idea than just taking whatever advice you see people posting on social media. Social media is a great way to connect and to do services like this one, but it's not, a super great source of medical information. But I also want to take a few minutes just to talk about what do we do with the information that we have. and what our response might be as people of faith, because something that's become really real to me as we deal with this crisis, this pandemic, is one of the really hard parts is the lack of control that we might be feeling, right? Because so many of these big decisions that are being made that affect our lives so deeply are being made by other people, right? And this can lead us into this feeling of helplessness. And so I'm interested in finding a spiritual response to that helpless feeling, something that we can latch on to when it feels like there's nothing that we can do. And so I keep thinking about our reading from this morning. It's a reading that many of us know and love. And I think it might be a helpful guide during all of this. And I know I am addressing Unitarian Universalist from a couple of congregations, and don't always use the Bible as a source. But I think this text is a really good one for all of us to be looking at right now. I think it has something to offer all of us. This reading, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 13, gives us a list. And it's a list of different seasons that happen in our lives, right? A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal. One in particular that I've been thinking about a lot right now, is a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. This time, certainly the latter. But the text doesn't end there. Right? People love to cut it off right there, but the next few lines are super important as well, because if the first part names what some of the times are, then the next part talks about how we might respond. The text talks about how everything has been made suitable for its time, right? And that includes us, right? All of us have what we need. We are strong enough and brave enough for the times that we live in. We are able to deal with the challenges of our time. And it goes on to say that part of how that happens, part of being suitable for our time, is being happy and enjoying our time together. It is eating and drinking and taking pleasure in the work that we are being asked to do. And the text describes all of this as being done as a group, as a community. That beloved community is an essential part of life, no matter which season we are in. And so I think about all of this in terms of dealing with the difficult season that our country and our world are facing. And I think this is how we can respond as people of faith. And at this moment, we are physically separated from each other, but we can still choose to live in beloved community. When we feel helpless, this is what we can control. We can control how we respond. We can control how we treat people. We can control whether we respond from a place of fear and anxiety or a place of compassion and care. There's a passage from another sacred text that I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's a passage from The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, where the hero Frodo has this moment of despair and he proclaims, "I wish this hadn't happened in my time." And his friend and mentor Gandalf the Wizard replies, "So do I. And so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All that we have to decide is what to do with the time we are given." This pandemic has put all of us in a very difficult situation. It is a situation that none of us would have chosen, but we can still choose what to do with the time that we have been given. We can still choose to be people of love and care. We can choose to be brave and to remember that very often a huge part of being brave is having the courage to be compassionate, patient, and kind while people around you are panicking and behaving badly. This is a time like many of the ones described in Ecclesiastes, right? It's a time to heal. It's a time to weep. It's a time to quite literally refrain from embracing. But it's also a time to build up, a time to love, and a time for peace. Our Unitarian Universalist beliefs in the inherent worth and dignity of every person and in justice, equity, and compassion in human relations have made us, just like the text says, suitable for our time. And we are going to get through this time together. Amen.
Speak.